Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What is going on, everyone in the On the Chain community, On the Chain family out there, believing in the crypto? You know who doesn't believe in crypto? Oh yeah, the White House, 100%, 110% against crypto. You know what they're in favor of? Oh yeah, CBDCs and digital currency. Keep your money safe. Go to the crypto, go to the XRP, provide liquidity, save the entire global ecosystem, financial ecosystem. That's what we're talking about. Or do you want, Chip? Would you prefer to have central bank digital
You lost me at
currencies?
Central, Jeff. Sorry. It's a negative for me. You ready to go? Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome.
Yeah.
to-
Okay. Yeah, welcome everybody. Hey, welcome to On the Chain. Good to have you with us. If you guys are feeling super generous, throw us a super chat. If you want to join the channel, click the join button on YouTube. If you want to support us, the website, go to onthechain.io. Best way you can support us is share the content with somebody and get it out there so we can have some more folks. And then like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. And Jeff, there's so much to dive into today. It's just I don't even know where we get started here, but there's a lot of stuff.
Let's
crazy.
start with a beautiful tweet that you put out.
Yeah,
No,
I got it ready.
You got that one up? All right.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's dive into that one and let's
two commentaries
crazy.
on this. We got two commentaries on this, but I think what we'll do first of all, let's hit this one here.
Crazy.
So the
So that's
White
what it's
House,
all
Jeff.
Who's that?
Jeff, we're gonna have there's a theme to tonight's show.
We are going to be shopping this one.
And what we're noticing, it's not just the blue team here, it's the blue team globally, right? There's sort of a theme here about who doesn't, there's on one side, there's freedom. On the other side, it's like, we are smart and we know what's best for you. Right. That's kind of how it goes. But so as we all know, this White House, they released this. How many pages was that, Jeff? 75 pages?
No, it's more than 75 pages because they're released on page 237, subsection A. Page 237 was all about the crypto. So if you decide that you want to read it, and 237 was being nice. I think it was like 400 pages, maybe more. I don't know. I stopped at 237. Started getting a little blurry-eyed.
Jeff, I stopped at the index because I know exactly what it said. Not exactly what it said, but I knew what it was all about. And this is kind of funny. Here's the quick take according to the block, right? It says the White House report paints a dim picture of digital assets, arguing their use cases have not been fulfilled, while suggesting they present risk to consumers in the broader financial system. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve has been around for over 100 years as a central bank, and it still is unable to do one of its basic things, which is control inflation and unemployment. And it's failed miserably. But let's just go ahead and take the piss out of digital assets here, Jeff. And then it says the report may signal, this is the best part, because you got to remember who's writing this stuff, people that are members of the blue team. They say the report may signal a shift in approach by the Biden administration. Now, Jeff, can we harken back to a simpler time? Let's go back to the time, and I will get to that tweet. But do you remember when everybody in the community was going crazy? I think it was last March or April that the report came out of the White House, Jeff, and it was all like the administration released the report on crypto, and oh my God, it's great. And what did we say, Jeff? Don't get so excited so quick because of this. There you go. That's exactly what it is. Don't get too excited, Jeff, because it's all ultimately going to turn out to be a pile of crap. And of course, yet again,
big stinking, steaming pile.
Again, Jeff, I have to say that we were right. And
once again, Chip, always on the right side and always correct.
Yep. On the right and correct. There you go. So
K-HUD, keeping it safe.
Statler and Waldorf. Which one are which, Jeff? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
We'll
Statler or Waldorf.
Yeah.
So put this tweet out. The White House document argues that digital assets are neither an effective store of value nor an effective means of payment. But that first part, let's just take that, the store of value. Bitcoin would tend to argue, dismiss that comment, right? So it's been as high as 67 $1,000 per Bitcoin. It's been as low as pennies or
Pennies on the
sub-penny,
dollar.
right? Not a store, and it's been around for 11 plus years. But Jeff, it's not really a store of value. You know why? Because that's what they told us. And nor is it an effective means of payment, even though people are paying for stuff every day with crypto.
It is
That
not.
doesn't matter.
Nope.
You know,
It has
so
no use case. The use case is failing.
Yeah, and it's like, if listen, you get past a certain age where you just go like, this doesn't exist. You're like, dude, if you knew what was going on in AI right now, and if people keep up with the way I do, mind blowing. Last week was a crazy week. This week's proven to be crazier.
Mind blowing. Chip, check out this cool comment here. Vincent Scully. Once Chip and Jeff thought they were wrong, but it turns out they were mistaken.
That's funny. I love these guys. That's so good. The administration opposes business growth and innovation, right? Can we just get that out there? Because it's pervasive. It's not just digital assets, right?
It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's an elephant. It's massive, right? And so the administration endangers the digital asset community in the US and worldwide by destabilizing and undermining it due to the challenge this decentralization poses to their so-called legacy systems, you know? And decentralization, as we know, we always say it here, Jeff, represents freedom, but it must be shoved down, stifled to preserve its authority and its narratives.
Squished.
Here is going crazy. So let's jump over to, that was the block. And Susan Friedman, Jeff. Now, the best part about this is, what I laugh about with this stuff is these people love the blue team. Except when it goes against what they're setting out to do. And you want to know who loves, do you know who's the chief, I would say, agitator out there when it comes to CBDCs? Two companies, Stellar and Ripple, right? It's Jeff.
I would say so.
Jeff, now in Auschwitz, do you know the name that was on the outside of the ovens? It was Braun. Now, when they sold those ovens, they were probably thinking they weren't going to be to exterminate thousands, if not millions, of Jews, right? They probably weren't thinking that, but they gladly sold it, Jeff. Like, hey, yeah, it's money, whatever. But then again, if you think about CBDCs, do you want to be on that side where you're going to be like enabling this sort of bad behavior? Now, if you're going to turn off the programmability, Jeff, just saying.
So we have some really interesting video clips. We've got a video from Ron DeSantis talking about that. There's some commentary from Warren Davidson talking about the dangers that that are inherent within CBDCs. But you know, Chip, it's amazing because I pulled up the economic report. We're not going to read it. We're not going to go through it. I just want to, before we look at the Susan Friedman, just real quick, just to get a glimpse of the beauty of this thing. And all the nice colors and graphs and how much time and effort was put into this thing as you kind of read down through all these pages. And who knows if there's some, you know, concepts that make any sense within all these pages, because we're not even, well, we're at page 245. So let's just keep on going and we'll keep trying to read through all this stuff. And it, you know, looks like a lot of underlining, and we'll just keep going, all these graphs. And then they referenced pages and pages and pages and pages.
It's horrible, right?
I mean, it's just like, here's the references for chapter 1, but it's amazing, you know, if you look at this, how much has actually gone into this. I'm trying to find page 237, 251. These are all, you know, represent, you know, kind of them talking about, you know, like the reality of crypto assets. This section investigates the claim. Look, Chip, you know, this is how you know there's issues with them. You know, this section investigates the claimed benefits reviewed earlier in the chapter and presents the risks and costs of crypto assets. So show me, if you are writing a report and you want to even-handedly discuss the potential of this space, of the crypto asset space. What does it represent? You know, what can it bring in terms of financial stability and financial inclusion? But no, they didn't focus on that. They focused on these, you know, key, you know, and it's the words that they use, the terminology they use, claimed benefits, meaning that you're claiming it, but it doesn't really exist, and that they are presenting the risks and the costs. And then their title, crypto assets are mostly speculative investment assets. And to a point, that could be true, that there's a lot of speculation that are going on here. And here's the claim: crypto assets could improve the United States' current financial technology infrastructure. And it is true, and then they get into and they'll try to dissect, and they put such a negative spin.
What's the point of all this
you
anyway,
wanna-
Jeff?
I don't know here. Look at this. Crypto assets could enable fast digital payments. That's true. But then they're going to disprove it with all these lines. See all these lines?
I see a red and blue line.
I don't know what these lines mean. But anyhow, it has been argued that stablecoins could be used as near instant 24/7 payment instruments. It has been argued. It's been proven. I think it's pretty much been proven that you can do near instant 24/7 payment with crypto assets. It hasn't been shown on a huge scale. We haven't seen, entire countries switch over. We haven't seen a country like El Salvador start legalizing Bitcoin as tender. Oh, wait, no, they actually did that.
Oh, wait, what's this? Of course they did. So, yeah, the whole thing, it's like, hey, but it could be used for this, but it's evil.
But it's
Jeff,
evil. But it's no
the point
good.
of this whole thing is, first of all, no executive order, any of this stuff is going to pass muster anyway, right? And the only way to really do it is through Congress. So what kind of resources were wasted, and how many people did it take to write something that nobody cares about and nobody's going to read? The same when the last report came out, everyone's like, look at this, look at that. Just like when Gary Gensler, they're like, look at this. But if you're a student of history and you understand how this side operates, it's all smoke and mirrors, and you know how to read it because you know what it really entails. And Jeff, we're, sometimes we've been off, but man, I hate to tell you, but we're kind of right.
We're pretty much on. We're right on. We pretty much have called it multiple times over, just like the Ripple, the SEC v. Ripple case. It hasn't ended yet.
Hasn't ended yet. We just got the steak dinner. DK says, I'm glad the government's protected me from myself. That'd be terrible if I could speculate. My God. But they don't care about if you go to speculate on black or red when you go to Vegas. Whatever. You're just a bunch of losers. But the real threat is the decentralization and, the threat it poses to the power system and the legacy systems. And, a lot of people, I want to make make the distinction. That's what I was looking for. Distinction between central banks are good inherently, right? Banks, for the most part, are pretty good, right? And it might have some policy, whatever, but it does have the trust of people to keep. And lately, I know that's all shifted, but I mean, a lot of times we hear about banks, talking about the central bank, the whole idea of this debt system. And the best banks are the community banks, the ones that have been around for a long time. There's a lot of great national banks, right? But I think here, when we talk about Susan Friedman, she's the head of policy over Ripple. She ripped into it. She said, if the USG spent as much time trying to construct a regulatory framework for crypto assets as it did criticizing the tech, everyone would probably be a lot happier. Not probably, Jeff.
We would be stoked.
Super happy, right? And she says, the jurisdictions that have done the work, the EU, Singapore, Brazil, Dubai, every time we hear some Ripple exec like Brad Garlinghouse, basically off the tip of his tongue every time, they're much better positioned to study the advantages / disadvantages of crypto because they've established an environment where industry can experiment within limits while consumers are protected. And again, we go back to Hester Peirce's safe harbor, right? Get 3 years to kind of make it decentralized, and once it's decentralized, blah, blah, blah. So the report also underscores why Senator Warren's position that government rushed into specifically to save the billion-dollar crypto firms from recent bank failures makes no sense, because the one bank is making everyone whole. That was the so-called crypto bank. And then if you want to buy the so-called crypto bank, you can't take over the crypto part. So I'm sorry, your narrative's collapsing and it's complete rubbish. Thoughts, Jeff?
It is complete rubbish. The perceived appeal of crypto assets. That's all I want to say. This whole thing, it's just so gut-wrenching that they would release something like this. And it's just packed in there into chapter 5, chapter 8. I don't even know what chapter it's in. But it's crazy. Digital assets relearning economic principles. They make it sound like it was something good. Turned out they thought it was something bad.
Yeah. So
That's it.
Jeff, look at this right here. So I was looking on this last tweet here. You see that right there? Look at what's trending on Twitter. Wells notice, right? This is what the SEC sends you when they're telling you ahead of time they're going to sue you for something. I'm like, who are they going to sue now? Coinbase? I mean, who's it going to be? Wait a minute. What's this, Jeff? Look at this. Today, Coinbase received a Wells notice from the SEC focused on staking and asset listings. A Wells notice typically precedes an enforcement action.
Here we go.
Oh my. 2 years ago, the SEC reviewed our business in detail and approved Coinbase to go public. Our S1 clearly explained our asset listing process and included 57 references to staking. So they're busy writing all these other things up with government resources, but nobody's reading this 2 years ago, Jeff?
Dude, this is the the problem that we're seeing with the SEC, and you think about multiple times over. This is a prime example, but even like with Ripple, much of what Ripple was doing was getting a lot of oversight and at least meetings at high levels, a lot of scrutiny, and things weren't just happening like behind closed doors that these three-letter government agencies and these unelected bureaucrats didn't have exposure to. And this is just another one. Another group of unelected bureaucrats are going to penalize an entity because it fits the narrative of the elected bureaucrat. And the elected bureaucrat has some tremendous animosity, towards this decentralized space, as do the unelected bureaucrats. But look at what they're doing to Brian Armstrong. Look what they're doing to Coinbase. That the fact that he clearly states, and obviously they went public. So to go public, either the SEC is negligent in their review of these companies and therefore not up to, not up to snuff or not up to the duties they should be performing, or they purposely ignored it with an intent and maybe, bad intent, and they kind of premeditated a future attack on the company that they said, hey, let's let them slide through now. But later on, when we start gathering some steam on all of this stuff, then we're going to come back and smash them. And here we go. We're in the smash and grab phase.
Yeah, and look at this. Mark Phillips. Hey, what's up, Mark? Is anyone else disgusted by both the SEC and Coinbase? Is it wrong for me to wish they both would lose in this upcoming SEC versus Coinbase case? I don't know. I mean, I think Coinbase knew it was coming because they've been tweeting about it. I think what's really interesting is that looks just like Brian Armstrong, that little
looks identical
avatar.
to Brian Armstrong. That's when I saw it, I was like, I bet that's Brian Armstrong.
He's like, and then welcome to the opportunity for Coinbase and by extension the broader crypto community before to go to court. Oh yeah, I missed the last one. Yeah.
We read that one.
Explain, rejected.
Oh, run the rig. We saw that.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, well, we understand it's part of the journey to reform our financial system. We know we're right on the law. We're confident in the facts. Welcome the opportunity for Coinbase and by extension the broader crypto community to get a court date. We're proud to stand up for our customers and the industries in these moments. Going forward in the legal process, we'll provide an open and public forum before an unbiased body where we'll be able to make it clear for all to see that the SEC simply has not been fair, reasonable, or even demonstrated a seriousness of purpose when it comes to engagement on. Jeff, one thing I hate more than anything is when people talk about the word fair. That's not fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Why don't you talk about this is bullshit and you didn't call it 2 years ago and now you're calling it now? We'll take you to court and we're going to crush you like a grape. That's not, it's unfair and it's unreasonable and it doesn't, hey, it's bullshit. It lacks purpose. There you go. Just say it's bullshit and lacks purpose. A seriousness of purpose. Who wrote this? An attorney? When it comes to engagement on digital assets.
Well, he does answer to the and as he learned when he went after the SEC before he realized the last time it happened, he answers to the board, no longer to himself. But here's another point to overlap what he just said from DK. We're proud to stand up for our customers and the industry in these moments Brian forgot to say, unless you own XRP, Flare, or SGB, but I want to just focus on the XRP part because it was Coinbase that delisted or froze the listing. I wouldn't say delisted 100%, but they froze the listing of XRP at the behest of the, maybe they're probably the behest of their board, due to the fact that there was this lawsuit with the SEC v. Ripple, and just to be on the safe side, Coinbase said, in order for us not to be sued and not to fall on the wrong side of this, we don't want to pick sides. We're just going to remove XRP. Look where they are now. Didn't help them very much.
No, Jeff. When you bend
now
the
that
knee,
they're center of the attention.
You get the insertion. That's how it works, Jeff. It's like you bend the knee, and if you don't stand up, then you're gonna, either stand tall and fight, or you bend the knee, and then you're just always going to be a subservient to the SEC. In the meantime, Coinbase will continue to do what we do best, which is ignore XRP, Songbird, and Flare, and the most trusted products and services in order to advance our purpose in updating the financial system, creating more economic freedom in the world. I can get behind that. We're excited to work with government and regulators around the world who are focused on putting in place clear rules to regulate the crypto industry, not you morons in Washington. You can read more here. So yeah, we don't need to read more. I think we read enough, Jeff.
We've read enough of that nonsense.
We got enough of that. And then we
got enough of that.
There's enough of that silliness, Jeff. I have to make sure.
It's pretty silly.
I think it is.
Silly.
I think in the grand scheme of things, it is pretty silly.
Too much silliness for one evening. Michael Murphy saying it looks like Coinbase already sold out the centralization. Well, it's an interesting dynamic that they find themselves in, Chip. To that point that Michael's bringing up, because of the fact that they did go public. They are, listed on the stock exchange. Funds are buying into, and individuals are holding Coinbase stock, and they are beholden to the investors now. They can't just make up their own mind, but it's a different dynamic in terms of who's in control, majority control of the direction, and so I don't know if that's centralization specifically. I'm not 100% sure, but he's definitely sold out to maybe the mainstream. He's not as gung-ho, so maybe that is centralization. That's the centralized mainstream concept on this, and it's got to be tough for them though, because here they are publicly traded, and then you have the SEC coming after them on their staking. It's going to be an interesting case.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. It's going to be beyond interesting. Something's on my computer here. So I was freezing up. What's going on? Yeah, so
who do you have?
So what I have up next, Jeff. I'll tell you what I have up next. So, Jeff, do you remember a couple years ago there was a picture, and you probably can find it if you search on the internet, but it was a picture of Brad Garlinghouse, and he was hobnobbing and schmoozing with Christine Lagarde, and that was before she was at the the European Central Bank, and she was running the IMF, and the IMF, this is huge. XRP is going to be 589 tomorrow. Remember, there was a lot of that talk going on, and everybody was praising it and happy. And back at the time, I was like, I don't know, man, I don't be so gung ho about this. I don't think it's going to be what we think it's going to be, right? Well, Jeff, let's see what Christine Lagarde's up to today. So sometimes, Jeff, they say the quiet part out loud. Let's listen in. This is Christine Lagarde. Here she is. Let's listen in.
Where do we stand? We central bankers, we have been operating as a monetary anchor in relation to the commercial banks and the private money. If we are not in that game, if we are not involved in experimenting, in innovating in terms of digital central bank money, we risk losing the role of anchor that we have played for many, many decades. And we have historical examples of period where the central bank monetary anchor was not there, And that precipitated crisis after crisis. That certainly was the case at the time of the free banking in the 19th century. Do we want to go back to those days? Probably not. I would say certainly not from our vantage point, as a result of which we have to respond to the demand for those digital payments in order to maintain the role of anchor that we have been playing regularly.
Jeff, do you want to translate what you just said?
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah,
What?
I mean, and kind of like in a nutshell, it'd be like, I think this one's a good one too. Or this one.
Ew.
Wah, wah.
I mean, Jeff, she's like I love how she calls it an anchor. Legacy is an anchor. We will not mess with the anchor. And the only way we'll go forward, she had to be very careful not to say digital assets. You know, she's like digital central bank currency. Digital. I was like, so Christine Lagarde over there is representing the let's put a CBDC in place so we can control the hell out of you.
It's beautiful. The CBDCs are beautiful.
It could be. And so this one was a tweet that we saw this one go out today. And I have to say, Jeff, when you think about it, I guess from the perspective of how it would work in the US, like it's a little bit different in Europe, but here we have a system of government that works that, you know, I know there's executive orders and all this garbage, but technically, if you wanted to pass something big, it has to go through a certain sort of a clearinghouse, right? It's got it. So, and this is it. So Warren Davidson put this out today. He said only Congress could lawfully, doesn't mean they're not going to try, Jeff, because it takes 9 months to a year to get to the Supreme Court, but only Congress can lawfully establish a central bank digital currency in the US. But that hasn't stopped CBDC advocates from working to normalize this Orwellian payment system. Today, I sent a letter to my colleagues encouraging them to help prevent state efforts to facilitate a central bank digital currency. And Jeff, I think you got something from our governor, Ron DeSantis, but he gets into the whole thing. If you're aware, an international effort across governments to pursue a central bank digital currency, better known as a CBDC. Here in the US, we're seeing the Federal Reserve conduct pilot programs that would essentially eradicate the privacy and freedom inherent in cash transactions. However, we continue to take on the fight at the federal level. I'd like to draw your attention to recent state efforts to legitimize CBDCs within a uniform commercial code. He goes on to blah, 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 blah. But I mean, basically, he's standing up for it. He talks about Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis of Florida, announced legislation to prohibit the use of CBDCs. Jeff, I think you've got some more on that.
Yep. So, and that's going to be great, Chip. I mean, and Ron DeSantis talks about, you know, we've got to get more states on board with banning the use of CBDCs within the state. And so they see what's coming. They know the agenda with these digital currencies. And we would love to say, hey, these are decentralized. These are, you know, they're utilizing the XRPL and they don't have any ill intent. But, you know, that has been shown over and over again. So let's turn up the volume and let's hear some snippets here. This is kind of like in the middle of a thought. And it runs pretty long, 33 minutes, obviously, and it goes up to about the 10-minute, 45-second mark was pretty interesting. So we got like 6 minutes of interesting stuff. We're not going to sit here and listen to all of it, but just to kind of get a little flavor of what he was talking about the other day. So here we go.
Management from the economic central planners. It's just by nature. You cannot do this effectively without there being major costs to pay. And so some want to increase power to these organizations such as the Federal Reserve. And so last year, President Biden issued an executive order to explore the creation of a U.S. central bank digital currency, effectively converting the dollar into a centralized digital currency. And this is different than things like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. A centralized digital currency is directly controlled and issued by the government to consumers. And it provides the government with a direct view of all consumer activities. And so this is something.
So there's one interesting thing that he's bringing up here, and this is the lack of privacy. Just like Warren Davidson had clearly mentioned, the lack of privacy, the monitoring of everything that you spend, the ability to stop and control how you spend, when you spend, or penalize you if you spend on the wrong things. So if you think about, from a perspective of, what we've gone through over the past couple years and what happened up in Canada and the way they overreached and they shut people's credit card access down. Now here, they wouldn't even have to go very far if they control the ebb and flow of money. And this is what Warren Davidson is warning about, is what Ron Davidson, Congressman Davidson, or Governor Congressman Davidson and Governor DeSantis are both warning, about these possibilities of what government can accomplish with these CBDCs. So let's just go through just a little bit more here.
Something that is being proposed as somehow being environmentally sustainable, way to increase access to consumers who lack the means to join a traditional bank. But as we've come to learn, any way they can get into society to exercise their agenda, they will do it. So what the Central Bank Digital Currency is all about is surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. And how do we know? Because we've seen this happen in other parts of the world. Look at no further than China to see the impacts of centralized digital currency. The People's Bank of China uses its central bank to monitor citizen behavior, allowing for the surveillance of spending habits and to cut off access to goods and services. You also see things in the Bahamas, where they've instituted caps on CBDC holdings and transactions. In Nigeria, central bank capped ATM withdrawals to forcibly push the use of their digital currency in lieu of physical currency. And I don't even need to think here, what are they going to want to do? These ESG factors. You go and buy gasoline. If you bought too much gasoline,
guess what?
They just won't allow you to use this to make a transaction.
And that's a really good point. So it's not that they just have to monitor, right? And think about the ramp up of AI, but imagine go to the gas station and you've spent your allotment. That's it. You've spent whatever your allotment is for the month, for the quarter, for the week, and you can't get any more. And now they are cutting off access, and it could be automated, built into the infrastructure, into the system, which they cannot do with a credit card at this point. They can't automatically build in a cap on what your spending is, being that especially these entities are private. They're not government controlled entities. We do see the overreach where the government can then put pressure on the credit card companies to shut down access to specific individuals. But this is a whole different issue, Chip. I mean, this goes beyond the pale what Governor DeSantis is warning about, and it's real. Why is it real? Because it's happening in other parts of the world. There's so many issues, and this was something they even cautioned about, and this was bipartisan. This is not a partisan issue. It's not just on the red team. Some on the blue team also cautioned about the rollout of digital currency, that if you go down that path, privacy of consumer spending has to be protected. Without it, you lose your entire basis of your freedom, and that's it. But we have a constitution in this country that does protect those freedoms, and if we live, to the constitution of this republic, then obviously, things are going to be a little bit different. But we're not, Chip, we're not seeing that right now. I don't want to go down that whole narrative, but to focus on we have to be very clear, especially, Chip, when we talk to people, all of us, us and everybody watching, when people ask you, oh, digital currency, it's just like cryptocurrency. You're into cryptocurrency, right? Yeah, I'm into crypto. Well, why is digital currency so different? Why is it bad? Look, the government wants digital currency, but yet in their paper they wrote cryptocurrency is bad.
So funny.
Digital
Jeff,
currency
about that.
good, cryptocurrency bad.
That's so funny, man. These The best part about it is no matter what, it's not going to happen in the U.S. Why? Because half of the states, 27 of the states, will say we're not using it. There's not going to be any adoption. And even if they try to pass an executive order or do something sneaky, it's going to get rejected by the Supreme Court, right? So, it's a lot of hot air. It's a lot of garbage. But still, I mean, it's scary because you live in a country that don't have a constitution that tells the government what it can't do. You have a constitution that probably tells you your government can kick your ass everywhere and like it. And I love what's happening in France right now because, Macron used the nuclear option and bypassed the legislation over there. And the people are pissed and they took to the streets. And they're good at protesting, but they're not good at doing much else, Jeff. You don't want to know why? Took the guns away a long time ago. You yell and scream, throw a beer can, and then it's like a wine bottle. And then it's like, well, time back to get back to work. And, Europeans don't spend all that much time at work anyway. So it's kind of a good thing, Jeff. It's like they like and we're seeing these people step up and get pissed about this. But as freedoms are eroded everywhere, I mean, it's happening everywhere. I wanted to put this up here because I thought this was an interesting story, Jeff, to sort of segue, but check this out. XRP options are now available on major exchanges after price moves further. You want to take a guess at what exchange is offering options, XRP options?
Uphold.
Says right there. No, it's Binance. Binance right there. No, it's not Uphold, Jeff. It's Binance.
Oh, there's Binance. I didn't even see Binance.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was hidden in the small print that was not readable.
It's in the small print. So it says leading cryptocurrency exchange Binance announced its expansion of its line of XRP-focused investment products. As part of it, weekly option contracts, XRP/USDT, will be available to all Binance users. Apart from XRP, such as a product is only available for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course their own token, the BNB Binance token there. Interesting. It's also important to clarify the contracts are European, which means that their execution is strictly linked to predetermined future price and date. The first XRP/USDT options with an expiry date on the last day of the month will be available. I think it's today, but they'll be updated every Thursday.
I guess where they're not available. Oh, yeah, in the U.S.
Yep. How did you guess that, Jeff? Not going to be available in the U.S. They don't even want to take on that fight because they'll start screaming and Senator Warren will be like, I sound like a bird. And he'd be like, why don't you take some of that energy and get to work? Okay, get back to work. Start passing some legislation and us running the first mic and chirp. What
you're supposed to do. Get back in there. Get back behind closed doors. Don't come out until you figure it out.
Jeff, this is kind of what it's going to look like post-lawsuit. You're going to see this straight line like that.
Dude, I like that straight line. I just don't want it to stop. It needs to keep going. That straight line should not stop at 46 cents. Dude, the past couple of days have been amazing. That's the beginning of the parabolic growth.
Yeah, but if you don't see what that is, if you thought this was like $1 and $5 and then $10 and then $20 and $30, then it looks pretty cool.
$5.89. That looks really sweet.
Oh, yeah. It's all fun.
Oh, yeah. Down there, that bottom line. Yeah,
advice.
I like that. The bottom line is that 30-cent mark. And that was like, boom, this is over a period of time. It's not like 2 days. This is the 5-year projection.
Yeah, it's looking pretty cool too. And then you got this one here.
Looks pretty sweet.
This is
look at this comment before you throw that tweet up. Colorado ski life. I didn't know how pro-crypto DeSantis was. Awesome, but I'll never get elected with that view. I hope I'm wrong, but it won't be allowed. There's a fight. There's a battle is being waged. Warren Davidson is out there. He's fighting the fight too. Congressman Davidson. If you haven't seen the interview we did with Congressman Davidson, go to onthechain.io, search up Warren Davidson.
Check it out.
Search up
it's a good one.
Tom Emmer. You can't search up Ron DeSantis because we haven't interviewed him yet, but now I think we might have to if they allow it. We'll say, hey, check it out. We've interviewed all these other cool guys. We're going to talk about CBDCs and cryptocurrency for the betterment of Florida, where all the big businesses are flocking to in droves. People are leaving states like California and New York and everywhere else, and they're filling in Tampa and Fort Lauderdale and Miami. People want to come here. Why? Because it's the greatest state in the union. That's
right it is.
Brought to you.
Drunk guy says.
.com.
So that's all good too. Then this one from David Schwartz. He says, nothing about SVBs, KYC policies, or who they extended credit to seems to have anything whatsoever to do with how they became insolvent. And anyone who keeps uninsured funds on deposit with an insolvent bank is not a bright person. Hate to say it, Jeff, but he's pointing out the obvious. But sometimes you got to point it out for the people, the kids in the front row. They're just not paying attention. They're looking all over the place. They're not really paying attention to what's going on. But this is the thing. It's like, well, it's a crypto bank and it's this and that. Well,
interesting.
Yeah. So, but it was the investment in the bonds with the securities that they invested in, the $2+ billion. Rates went through the Federal Reserve caused this too. But the Federal Reserve has been around and it's a state sanctioned thing. It's been around since 1913. And well, Jeff, meanwhile, they're sitting there barking about digital assets, which are pretty new, only been around 11 years. You go back and trace Bitcoin. It's insane. And then
it's awesome. SoFlo is saying the movie is all about slowing down the new tech that works to push CBDC out before there's a law in digital currency. They are trying to push out their digital currency law in KHUD. How many X's will XRP bring? That's a good question.
Come on. I like the sound of that.
It looks like we got some competition. DK, Texas, baby. But Florida's okay, though. Hell yeah. Florida's Texas, Florida.
But they're the two best places. That's why people from California are moving to Texas. And that's why people from New York are moving to Florida, right? They're getting out of the blue cities that are being destroyed. They're spending money like crazy. I have a feeling that probably both of those states will become insolvent probably within the next year or two. They're on a trajectory. They're heading over the cliff. Yeah.
California for sure. New York City's always on rocky ground. It's always kind of in that zone of insolvency, and the rest of New York State has to support it. So if people are fleeing the state, who's going to support it? Mr. Wolf brings up some interesting points here because there was that Bloomberg article. I was going to bring it up, then it wouldn't open. Credit Suisse bailout actually costs every Swiss citizen $13,500. So pay up. We take Bitcoin.
But at least they're honest about it. Here, we don't know what the cost is. It's like, don't worry, it's not going to affect you. It is, but at least they know what it's going to cost every Swiss citizen. And what are they going to do? They're going to be like, what are they going to say? There's no constitution to prevent that. It's whatever they say goes. So there's always that bit of it. Jeff, I got another cool video here. Caitlin Long, I believe she worked at Ripple at one point, but I don't think it's on her bio anywhere. But I wanted to put this up because she was on Laura Shin's podcast. And I wanted to play a little bit of this because Caitlin Long's been on fire pretty recently, man. She's been doing some good stuff. And of course, she left and she founded something. And I don't know what's going on with that project she's at. But here she is right here.
Outright scandal. This is theft of private property by regulators who did not have the authority to take a solvent bank and put it into receivership. And I do suspect that there will be litigation over that. Did the regulators have the right? Again, finally, you're having some of the regulatees be in a position where they can sue the regulators for overreaching. But that's what it takes. And the fact that these regulators have not had anyone sue them for decades, they've just grabbed power that they didn't actually have. They've way overstepped their bounds. And if this is correct, and I don't have any reason to doubt Barney Frank because he did have inside information. He was a director of the company, and he himself admitted that he was a bit of a crypto skeptic. So for him then to say that the regulators put a solvent bank into receivership, I think the stock was trading at something like $40 before it was put into receivership. This was not a stock that went to zero or close to zero. So that is theft of private property, and it's going to be challenged.
It is. You know what else, Jeff? You know what else? No one had a problem when Obama did, and they closed down GM, and they said, sorry, stockholders, you'll lose everything, but don't worry, they're going to get bailed out. And, the problem
was problematic. It was super problematic. What do you think about that? It's not the fact that they bailed.
It's rough, man. I mean, like the whole idea that the value, but she's absolutely right here. Now, what's interesting about this clip, Jeff? I'm going to turn the volume off here.
Watch the full episode.
No, we don't want to watch the full episode because you're a maxi. But like Jeff, as I'm like watching like the girl in the center, she doesn't like realize that she's on camera. she's like looking around. She's watching TV. Like Caitlin's getting real passionate about it. She's looking in the mirror. Now she's gonna fix her hair right there. See, fix her hair, and then she's gonna be like, "This is boring," and she's gonna be like,
she yawns.
"Yeah." So now she's like, "Oh God, do I have to sit through?" And I love how she says the regulators, right? Now she's gonna just be like, "Sleepy, getting sleepier. You are getting sleepier. You are getting sleepier," and then she. Prop that face up. Prop the
There we go. There we go. She's trying to focus.
Yep. Keep awake. Keep awake.
Hang on. Here we go.
Just hang in there. Hang in there. She's almost done. She's going. She's like, how long do I have to wait? That was a yawn. It was not a coughing. It was a yawn.
Was it a yawn?
I think it was a yawn. Yeah, I think she's definitely yawning there. Now she's like this. You know, when someone does this, you're like, you're bored as hell, man. If you're doing that kind of stuff.
She could be sick. Maybe she's sick, and that's why her eyes.
That is theft of private property.
No, she's coughing.
Yeah, right, is theft of private property. Yeah. I don't know what Lauren Shin said, but she most disagrees with anything that if you don't say Bitcoin and Ethereum are the best things ever, almost anything counter that argument she doesn't like. I've seen her. I've listened to her podcast. She has good guests and she does good interviews. But sometimes she gets a little bit off the rails. She kind of does her thing. And you know what's so funny, Jeff? Like, how many times have we invited Hester Peirce on here? And they said, we looked at your site and there's a lot about XRP. Yeah, Tony interviews are like at least 7 times, and all he talks about is XRP too. But that's okay. I think it's more about the political stance. I don't know, Jeff. Who knows? Hard to tell exactly, but
never.
Who knows, Jeff? Who knows? And who knows? Maybe that's the reason. I don't know what the reason is. Well, you know, Jeff, we have a steak dinner bet on that. We have a steak dinner going for this whole thing with Mr. B. Nick Burifato. I don't even say his name. And also here's Nick right here. Burifato.
What do you think is from Mike? Mike is saying, did you know that Bianca Trump sat at the board of the bank? And you know, most of the Trumps have their money at the bank and a lot of Wall Street. Guys have their money in that bank. Bianca Trump, the niece.
Ivanka? I don't know who Ivana. I don't know who Bianca is.
Somebody look up Bianca.
I don't know who that is.
Who's the niece? Who is the niece?
It might have been. Well, he has another daughter, but I don't think her name is Bianca.
Let's see if there's a Bianca Trump.
I think there might be just a snafu there.
Bianca, nope. Bianca Trump is a
fictitious name.
Maybe no. Yeah, it's a fictitious name of a porn star.
Mike, get your facts straight, Mike. Come on, dude. You come in here with just spewing Bianca Trump, dude. Come on, man. Mike, we're gonna talk about this later, man. So disappointed. Put these comments up. Bianca. I'm like, who the hell's Bianca? Bianca Trump. You know,
that's hilarious. I love it. That's a good one.
So Nick Burifato, he was talking with John Deaton, did a cool interview here, but that's who we have the bet with, and also Coining 203, better known as Alex. So I said this. His interview had nothing to do with settlement. And I said, you know what? I cannot wait for that steak dinner. Look at that, Jeff.
Look at that.
Look at that tasty steak dinner.
Oh man, look at that. It's like cooked to perfection.
Look at the way they lay it down like that, Jeff. Beautiful, right?
That looks really nice.
And
really good.
AJ said, enjoy. Will it be a Beyond Meat steak? No, it will not. We haven't talked about AJ in a long time, but AJ commented on this.
We're not going Beyond Meat. We're stopping at meat. We might go to potato.
So I put this
beyond as far beyond meat as we go.
Don't like that. Don't like it. Nope. Not going to do it. And then, of course, now he goes by Lex. But Lex this is Coining 203. He said, hey, Nick, since Chip and Jeff will be paying, I believe Eddie V's is in order. So he's still on the whole thing that there's going to be a settlement.
He still thinks there's a settlement.
He still thinks there's a settlement. I'm like, and of course, my favorite meme of all time is this dude here who's trying not to laugh, Jeff.
Right.
You know when you want to laugh, you're like, you don't want to laugh, and at the end you burst out laughing.
You know what we should do is come up to a settlement with Mr. B and Coining 203, and the settlement could be that they buy the steak dinner because they're going to lose, and then we'll get the drinks.
Okay. I think that's fair. Either way, I think it's fair,
That's the
Jeff.
settlement. It's a good settlement.
K-Head says you take your stand with XRP. Nothing wrong with that. Ripple stands for the asset class.
That's right.
What does that mean? Wait, Jeff, what? You
I don't
take your
know.
stand with XRP. Nothing wrong with the Ripple takes a stand for the asset class. Huh.
That's right.
Does that have something to do with
Interesting.
Bianca Trump? Just asking. Bianca Trump. Come on, Mike.
It
It's
was
Ivanka Trump. Yeah, Ivanka Trump
served on the board of directors of Signature Bank from 2011 to 2013.
Super relevant. I mean, it was only 10 years ago that she wasn't on that. People serve on boards all the time. I'm trying to get a board gig. Anybody knows a good board gig where I can check
Oh,
in
that'd
4
be-
times a year and then make about
I like
250 to 500,000? I'm all up for it, man. I'll give them
That'd be
some good
nice.
opinions.
I'm all into board seats. There's got to be someone out there that wants to offer a few board seats up. Board seats are good. I could serve on a board.
I could serve on several boards because I'll be there 4 times a year. I will be there earlier than everyone else, Jeff,
That's
and I won't
right.
even do it remote. I will fly to wherever you are.
Wherever.
What do you think about
I'll
that?
bring the espresso.
Sounds like a good
It's
thing,
not-
man.
It's a good gig.
If you can
Go
get
anywhere,
it, man.
anywhere in the continental U.S. and overseas.
That tweet was deleted. I don't like when that happens.
Oh,
I hate when you like go to put a good tweet in there and
man,
like it was
it was
deleted.
a perfect tweet. It was a perfect tweet. It was one of the best tweets. That's
Anyway,
how perfect
well, I don't know about
tweet was.
that. In all fairness to Coinbase, I've said it from day one. I'm like, look, they only promised to give you Flare. They never promised or knew anything about Songbird, so you can't strong arm into that argument. But the fact is, there's a lawsuit that's ongoing, and someone is suing them because they didn't give the Flare. They said they would. So there you go. Anyway, Jeff, there's a new proposal. There's something else to vote on, and that was the tweet that I was going to be doing, and I don't know what the hell this is. There's another one, and they're proposing another one. I can't keep up all this stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I care really. I mean, I'll just leave it up to the people, whatever you vote on. I don't think there's anything could possibly go wrong at this point. I mean, right? I mean, am I wrong? Or am I wrong? What am I
go
saying?
wrong? What can go wrong at this point? Things are amazing. You know, crypto is starting to spike again.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chip of Monopoly Board of Directors. There we go.
Okay, man, I'm all in. You know what? And you know, if you know the rules of Monopoly, the bank can't go bankrupt.
Emergency board meeting.
Right, guy. Look at this here, Jeff. So for the longest time,
Oh, yeah.
Massari was like
Massari.
such a hater when it came to XRP, Ripple, anything. So when I saw this tweet, I was like, is this the real Massari or is this a joke? Because despite the external pressure being applied by the U.S. regulatory authorities, the XRP ledger, XRPL, supported by Ripple, aims to provide a digital payment infrastructure, not just for individuals, but also for existing financial entities such as central banks. This is an XRPL overview. And I was shocked, Jeff, because I was like, this can't be real. Is this like an intern that's going to get fired that loves XRP?
Fire them.
Consensus, XRP uses proof of association. Consensus algorithm, POA requires each node to be trusted nodes in the UNL. Each nodes on the XRPL run the same free open source software, Rippled. Validators are nodes involved in reaching consensus and voting on improvement proposal, while stock nodes receive, relay, and process transactions. But I was like, what is going on? I mean, like, if you think like everything is upside down. Massari, your job was to hate Ripple. Every chance you had, you hated Ripple and you hated XRP. But now you've done a turnaround. Why, Jeff? I'm like, it's the real account. It's bizarre to me. I was like shocked.
It's bizarro world. And
what's up is down and down is up. And why there's such low attendance tonight? You guys didn't do your job and tweet this out. What are you thinking, man?
I don't know what happened.
Sometimes we get up to 200, 210, 100 people. What's up? Are we that boring tonight?
Tonight it was the thumbnail. Thumbnail wasn't super strong. Maybe it was the title. I don't know if I put XRP in the title. I'm not sure. But you know what we do have here? An economist who correctly predicted the great financial crisis says the world central banks have chosen class war over stability. And this is something that we're hearing from Congressman Davidson, Governor DeSantis, similar kind of ideas here. We're not going to be able to read through this whole thing, but marshaled by the U.S. Federal Reserve, central banks around the world have had a unifying philosophy over the past year: bring down inflation no matter the cost, even if it means risking pain for people and businesses. But that approach has been questioned more than ever this month in the wake of several high-profile banks collapsing in the U.S. and Europe. And here, kind of, and then you don't get to see it anymore. Now, a British economist who predicted the 2008 global financial crisis has escalated the issue, saying central banks prefer class war over financial stability. And I wish somehow on my phone I can open the article, but when it comes down to it, on the computer, it doesn't open. That makes no sense. Makes
Yeah.
no
Gotta use 12
sense.
foot.
I don't.
Gotta use that
don't get it.
paywall. The one that goes around the paywall there.
Why can my phone?
I wish we had more time to go through this whole thing. 'Cause it's a really good article, but Eleanor Terrett from Fox Business penned this article that's over there. SEC v. Ripple verdict could come at a pivotal time for the crypto industry as commuters rush through the halls of Washington, D.C.'s iconic Union Square station. They're greeted with the phalanx of fast food restaurants, coffee vendors, and the occasional retail store. Blah, 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 blah. Ripple says, yeah, it's a long article, but it's really good. She goes through a little bit of the history.
His wife's home.
Say what?
Not allowed to. Colorado's ski life has to leave because his wife's home.
All right, man. I totally get it. Go ahead. We won't tell her you were here. We'll keep it between us.
Keep it between just us. Keep it quiet.
Why are you still talking about that crypto? Why are you listening to that crypto? It's garbage. It's garbage, I tell you.
Yeah. It was just flipping channels. I accidentally found this channel.
Look at this. They even have like
what are we reading here?
They even have bots coming here. Do not purchase digital currency. Do not. This is Senator Warren. Do not allow the U.S. dollar to be converted or substituted to digital currency. Your well-being, property, and freedom are all at stake. Quite the opposite. Bitcoin's the only option that offers true freedom. Not being a huge proponent of cryptocurrency, I've seen selling a snake oil in the past. It never turns out well in the end. So what's the alternative? Trust in the administration to stop printing money so our dollars are worthless? Buy gold? Stuff's heavy, hard to store. I guess we could buy a ton of ammo as currency. I like that, Jeff.
I like that. That's a good one, actually. Here you go.
Ammo as currency.
Sophie said 20K XRP can be life-changing.
Yikes. Sophie, I can't believe you said that. I just can't believe so. I would have not expected that from Mike.
It's funny,
I would not have expected it from Sophie.
Right. Exactly.
Because he did put up the thing about Bianca. Bianca Trump.
Bianca.
Man, dude.
But the thing is, someone used to go around, because remember it was life-changing. That was the Vincent Wilson. And then it was someone who said wife-changing. And I don't know who that was.
I know James Rule tweeted that out the other day, but I've heard it before.
Vincent Wilson. Man, I miss Vincent Wilson. I miss the Vincent Wilson days when XRP, it was all about dancing bears and riddles and Vincent Wilson.
Mr. Wolf has a really good angle here. He's like, just tell the wife Jeff and Chip are very talented interior designers. Then she'll keep on listening, right? And we'll start railing about this and that and be like, Jeff, I don't know what kind of drapes you spec for the new OTC studio, but man, I got to tell you, the ones you picked out are just on par, dude.
The only thing we're going to pick out for your space is the lemon tree. That's it. You don't need, you put a lemon tree. If you look how perfect the lemon tree is, that's all you need. You put in a lemon tree.
The Riddler's back.
All else kind of falls nicely into place.
All of it falls into place. That's all how it works, Jeff.
That's how it works with the lemon tree.
Well, that's all we have tonight, Jeff. So let's get out of here. Guys, love you guys.
Wow.
Really enjoy you guys. Smartest people in crypto and all that jazz. And
Chip, NFT update.
I don't have any NFT for you today, Jeff.
Oh, no NFTs for us today.
I didn't pull any NFTs.
So actually, we're working diligently
to
get this first launch up, and just to give a preview, just know it's a Blue Tribe. That's it, Blue Tribe, and it's really cool. It's really amazing, and we're working on the attribute and this JSON file and tying it all together, and that's an interesting dynamic. So it's working diligently to get through it. It's really, really cool. And there's some cool guys right there that are behind the scenes that nobody can see except for me.
Hang on, let me throw them out there first.
Throw them
That's
up.
the whole.
Let
You gotta
everyone see
toss them up
something
there
really,
first, and
really
then
cool. 1 or 2. Make sure you be on your lemon tree daily. Legendary.
Okay, dokie. Let me see what we got here. Let's
There
see.
they are.
Hang on. Not yet.
Let's
Not
see
yet.
some of these. Oh, come
I'll
on.
put
Here we
them.
go.
Give
Come
me-
on. Hang in there. Hang in there.
I don't know where
Mike,
they are. Oh, here they are. Okay, they're back
I
over
know.
here. Here we go.
Mike says, love the show, brothers. Be safe. Look out for Bianca. Yeah, don't.
There you go.
Bianca Trump comes a running.
So here we go with the blue tribe right here. See how cool these guys are? Look at that.
Oh, that guy's cool. Look at that. It's kick ass. Look at that cool.
Look at
Look
this,
at that
see?
guy with the beard. I like that guy. The mentalist.
Spirit walker.
That guy's pretty cool.
Spirit walker and a mentalist. Mentalist meets spirit walker. Spirit walker meets mentalist. And of
Oh,
course,
man,
there's
the
a bunch of
mentalist.
these, and we're excited to release it, guys, and can't wait for you guys to go out there and get your very own. If you've
It's
never even
beautiful.
bought an NFT before, man, how fun would that be?
It'd be fun. Crypto G says attributes, DNA, and JSON fun times.
Man, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But you know
It
what?
is
I'll tell
a
you what, the project's
challenge.
exciting. Jeff and I have had a blast working on it because there's a whole story. We got to be creative on it. Like there's like the tribe names and what the tribes do and how they differ from each other and what the individual sub tribes do. The blue tribe, you see like the mentalists and the spirit walkers.
Oh,
I might have gone too far down that rabbit hole, Jeff, but I think it was a lot of fun.
It was.
You should see at one point Jeff and I were arguing about, I don't know, man, it just doesn't look like an oath kicker or whatever it is. I don't know. It was like it's like, and we would name them, we come back to it and like, dude, that just doesn't seem to fit. I don't know, it's all right. And we'd go back down that. And so that we almost should have done like a documentary on the creating of these things and the conversations. Because that is ridiculous. By all means, ridiculous.
You should name one Bianca.
That's Bianca, of course.
We're gonna have one hidden one. There's gonna be a hidden one in there called Bianca.
God, man, we're having too much fun. Anyway, guys, that's all the fun time we have tonight. Jeff, anything before we get out of here?
Just a quick message to everybody that's out there still watching. I think we have at least one person out there.
Hello, one person
watching.
watching.
Hello, one person watching us. You over there. Want to give a quick shout out to everybody here with us. You guys are the best and the brightest in all of YouTube crypto space. So it is awesome. You guys are here. You guys are what makes this fun to keep coming back. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Saturday morning with the coffee, with the espresso, strong, early, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday mornings. We'll check you out then.
Check you guys on the next one. Chip and Chip out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.